Good morning, it's Chad C. from C Real Estate, and today I'd like to talk to you about a first right of refusal, or you may hear it worded like this, a right of first refusal. And what I'm speaking of is an instrument that allows a buyer the opportunity to make an offer on a house that is subject to the sale of their house. Now, you can make an offer on a house and write in the contract it can say it's subject to the sale of my house, and it can be constructed in such a way that the seller agrees to hang out and wait for you to sell your house for a certain amount of time. They'll take their house off the market, they won't have it available to any other buyers, and they'll give you whatever it is, a couple of weeks, a month, 2 months to sell your house, and they're just waiting for that to happen so you can buy their house. Not many sellers want to do that, however, because their very next thought is, well, how do I know when or if their house will sell? I'm not willing to take my house off the market and wait to see. So a compromise, a way to work through this, is to have an addendum to your contract called a first right of refusal, which says that the buyer and the seller have agreed to terms. So let's say you agree to a price, you agree to whether or not closing costs are going to be paid, the inspection contingency, all that's agreed to. The contract is subject to the sale of your house. And this right of first refusal, what it does is allows the seller to keep their house on the market, to actively look for another buyer while you go put your house on the market and you try to get yours sold before the seller finds somebody else. There's a time component to this first right of refusal that says that if the seller finds another buyer who is ready to close on it now, they don't have a house to sell and it's a good contract, the seller comes to terms with this subsequent buyer, then the seller has to go back to you, if you're the buyer with this first right of refusal, give you notice, and you'll have anywhere from typically 24 to 72 hours to do one of a couple of things. Either show the seller that you have a buyer for your house who's qualified and ready to go, or that you have found a way to buy it without your house being sold. If you can do one of those two things, then the house is still yours. If you can't, then the seller is free to go ahead and sell it to this subsequent buyer. So, depending on the market, a seller might not even consider a right of first refusal when you make that offer. And that's the market we've been in the past few years. It's been a seller's market. Things are selling quickly, very low supply, high demand, and a seller does not want to even waste their time with someone who has another house to sell, because odds are they're going to find somebody very quickly who is ready to buy their house now. But things are changing. They always do, don't they? The markets change and things are slowing down a little bit, and I'm starting to see sellers who now will consider these first right of refusal contracts. Not to the degree that I've seen it in the past, but now it's not unheard of to see a right of first refusal on a property, and a seller has agreed to that. So a little insight about that way of purchasing a house today. I hope you have a fantastic week, and we'll talk again soon.